It's the most wonderful time of the year. Oh my god, Game of Thrones is back. Literally, this has been the longest year of my life. Reread the books for a start because I couldn't cope with the break. I bought the World of Ice and Fire book and I've just been watching all of the YouTube channels. I'm gonna plug some right now. Got Academy, that's the best one. The Last Harpy, Secrets of the Citadel, Grey Area. That's all I've done for the last year, is literally watch them. I get really confused sometimes and I have to remember that I'm not actually like Stark of Winterfell, I'm actually just a fucking nurse in a hospital. What I did, like I got home from Thailand the other day. I was flying at the time when it was showing, so I was just like, no, why though? And as soon as I got home, first thing I did was watch it, and I tried to make a reaction video, and when I watched it back, it was really boring, because it turns out, when I'm on my own at least, I don't really react that much. All you got every now and then was just like, that was literally it, for like an hour. So I thought, do you know what would be better? I'll review the episode. I'm going to do some reaction videos, but not when I'm on my own. I think like when I've got some friends to watch it with and we can just like get into the zone with like some fellow obsessives, that would be great. So, I've kind of done it like scene by scene with like sort of bullet points of things that I found interesting. My overall thoughts were it was really good for scene setting. I love that they left Dany's scene to like the very end because it's just like that's obviously going to be like the major point of the season. Dany is now in Westeros, which is, I'm going to talk about that at length later because oh my god. So I think this season is mostly going to be about that. Next season is obviously going to be like the War for the Dawn. The final season will just be like bunch of people get killed off this season and then the War for the Dawn will be season 8 and that'll be the end. Oh, and I want to make some predictions before I go on. Okay, so prediction number 1, Sansa's gonna kill Littlefinger. They've really ramped up the idea of like conflict between Jon and Sansa in like all of the promo stuff, so it makes me think that's definitely not going to happen, is it? Because like that, why would they put massive spoilers? So I think it's gonna be super ambiguous all the way through because Sansa has now got this whole like deadpan poker face at all times, which I love. I wish I could do that. Look how animated my face is constantly. So I think all the way through it's going to be dead ambiguous. Like we're going to think, oh my god, is she betraying Jon? Is she on Littlefinger's side? Oh my god, Littlefinger's going to think that like she wants him, and then right at the end, I hope Robin Arryn throws him through the moon door. Make that mockingbird fly. I feel like everyone wants to think that Jon and Daenerys will be a couple, and that would be pretty cool. Maybe they'll like fall in love or something, I don't know. Although Kit Harington has said there's no one else for Jon apart from Ygritte. He doesn't see him ever moving on from that, which is really sad. But maybe like Dany will really like him. I don't know, I mean she's not blind, you know. I think Jon will end up, when he finds out about who his parents are, I think he'll end up in a political marriage with Sansa because like the North is not going to be okay being ruled by a Targaryen. So I think in order to maintain his status as king in the North, I think he'll marry Sansa. Prediction for the final part of the series, the wall's coming down. They keep talking about it. They keep talking about like, don't worry guys, as long as the wall's there, even in this first episode, as long as the wall's there, we're all gonna be fine. Don't worry about the White Walkers, don't worry. There's no way they wouldn't keep fucking talking about how important the wall is if the wall wasn't gonna come down. So I think that'll be the cliffhanger right at the end of this this series. And then it's just going to be hell breaking loose throughout Westeros. So that's exciting. But now let's go. Let's get started. Okay. Oh, this is my little book of notes. Oh my god, I've got so many. I'll try and edit this down to like a watchable form because I could probably talk for like days about this episode. Okay. I straight away knew this was Arya. Straight away. Because they did the recap, obviously, but like Walder Frey's dead, we know that, and like we know she can change faces, so straight away I was onto it. I was really surprised how many people were like, I was wondering what the hell was going on, like I thought Walder Frey was dead, blah blah, and I was like, I knew, I was totally onto it. I was very proud of myself about that. But this scene, it made me cry. I mean, I'm not over the Red Wedding. Like who will ever be over the Red Wedding? I'm getting choked up just talking about it. But I know she's a little psychopath and has just murdered 50 people or something, but like it was so moving, just the way recounting what they did, killing guests under your roof, you stabbed a pregnant woman and the baby, you killed a mother of 5. Well done, brave man, well done you guys. But the badass lines from this scene alone: leave one wolf alive and the sheep are never safe. Oh! And when she took her face off and she turned to Walder Frey's wife, when people ask you what happened here, tell them the North remembers. I'm gonna cry. Tell them winter came for House Frey. Holy shit, man. I just can't even, okay. Oh, okay, get it together, Shelley, come on, we can do this. I also like the fact that it was like a throwback to like I think season 1, or maybe early season 2, when Robb Stark says to the Lannister spy, tell Lord Tywin winter is coming for him. 20,000 Northerners marching south to see if he really shits gold. Yes, I have lines memorised. I am that much of a geek. I kind of feel like Robb and Kat, who she was avenging, would probably be a bit horrified about what's happened to their baby girl. Title sequence. Oh, so beautiful to hear that again. I like that we got Old Town in it. I hope it goes beyond the wall at some point in this season, but maybe it won't. I don't know. Once again, first scene as Bran. Okay, but why isn't Bran getting more screen time, guys? Come on. In Winds of Winter, like the end of last season, all Bran got was like a little thing where he just like, forgot his name for a moment. He said goodbye to Benjen and then got into the Weirwood internet. And then the scene was about Jon. It wasn't about Bran at all. Bran is really, really important, and I feel like sometimes the show, they don't really know what to do. I love that like Dolores Ed is like, prove that you're Mira Reed and Brandon Stark, and he literally just goes, I see in the army of the dead, blah 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 blah. It's just like, and he's like, okay, come in. But that's not proof. Literally, he just changed the subject. But fine, I'm glad they let him in, because fucking hell, can't just leave 2 kids all for the wall. That'd be rude, right? Can we meet Howland Reed, please, this season? We haven't had any of the neck. Can we please meet Howland Reed? Can we please have the Crannog men, because they're really cool? And can we have the moving castle? What's it called? Greywater Watch. Please, 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 this series. Come on, come on. Let's have some Crannog men action. Okay, now 2 favourite characters, Jon and Sansa. I really liked this scene. I feel like it's caused so much contention. So I feel like Sansa should not have undermined Jon in front of all their bannermen. That's a really bad idea because they have to show unity. However, I don't really understand why he hasn't spoken to his advisors, Davos and Sansa, pre the meeting. Why hasn't this all been discussed with his council? I don't know. I guess Sansa maybe thought she was like a little bit more equal to Jon than she really is. And he was like, my decision's final. I was like, oh, that's how it is it? Next time I won't save your ass and you're failing at being a battle commander. I feel like Kit's lost his accent a bit over the summer break. Kept sort of slipping, and that's been pretty good for quite a few seasons now, and I was just like, it's kind of like taking me out of the moment a bit. Hopefully it'll get better over the season. Maybe that was like the first one he shot, so he was just sort of struggling to get it back. Regarding the situation with the Karstarks and the Umbers, I'm on Sansa's side mostly. I know that Jon is 100% focused on the real war, and I get that completely. They're just like, we can't have any more division in the north, we just can't. We've all got to band together now. But I think he's really taking a lot on faith, like all the Stark men take a lot on faith all the time. Just like, I've told you that this is happening and you've made me the king, therefore you will believe me. Like, I mean, how do we know, like, all these people 100% believe in, like, that the White Walkers, I know they have a lot of respect for the Night's Watch in the north, but it's still, like, a story that's, like, 8,000 years old, and a lot of people do treat it with kind of a little bit of, like, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. So, I think that a lot of those people there aren't necessarily, like, thinking beyond the politics of the north still, and they're not all seeing the bigger picture that Jon is seeing because they haven't seen it. And like he says to Sansa later on, if you'd seen the Night King, you'd think of little else as well, but like they haven't, and it sounds so fantastical that, like, really, like, do we just believe this? I don't know, but maybe they do. We haven't explored that. What I really liked in the books is when that Jon becomes Lord Commander, and he takes a load of young people, I think a lot of them are wildlings, into the Night's Watch, from the age of like 12 and up, including women and girls. And I kind of feel like him saying like, no, like, we're not going to win if half the population like isn't fighting. We need everyone we can get. I feel like that was a bit of a nod to the books of like Jon being a bit progressive and a bit feminist. And Lyanna Mormont, oh, how great was that speech? I was like, yes, queen! I'm every bit as much of a northerner as you are, and I don't need your permission to defend the north, which is amazing. The Umbers and the Karstarks, I kind of think the whole like experience of the Stark kids all the way through, they've all been talking about avenging their family. So the fact that Jon's just like, please just say some words and promise that you'll stand with me, even though your families are dead because of me. I don't agree with Jon on this, and I kind of think the reason the scene was in there is because it's probably going to come back and bite him on the arse at a later date. Jon's naive and he's trusting, and like, how many times do you have to be murdered by people who are supposed to serve you before you realise you can't just like accept what people say at face value? I don't know if it's just me, but as Jon got like a lot colder, I quite like it because I like the fact that he was a bit less likeable in this scene. Because like when he came back from the dead and he was like exactly the same, I was like, oh, well that's kind of rubbish really. I'm really disappointed in that. I think he should be less likeable and colder and more just like George R.R. Martin said about Beric Dondarrion. He becomes more and more focused on the mission each time. He loses something every time he comes back, is more and more focused on the mission. And I kind of feel like we saw a bit of that in Jon in this scene, and I really like that. I think he was being really cold to Sansa. Also, I don't get the massive character jump, because not a lot of time has passed, right? The massive character jump from Jon being, oh, what? You want to name me king in the north? Are you sure? Oh my god. And he looked like dead humble when he like stood up and was like, okay, I can do this. Suddenly, skip a few weeks or maybe days later, and he's just like, my word is final. And I agree, you have to say that in front of people, but like the way he was talking to her, he's got colder, and she is right. He has to be smarter than Robb, he has to be smarter than Ned. And the fact that he was really arrogant and was like, oh, how should I do that then? By listening to you. But yeah, that is exactly what you should do, because she has loads of knowledge he doesn't have. Jon's never been further south than Winterfell. Sansa like knows the politics of the Seven Kingdoms in a way that he doesn't, because she lived in court for several years as a hostage. She's seen the worst of those people that like they're now going to be having dealings with. Of course he should listen to her. That was really like un-Jon-like. And I'm hoping it's because he's changed, because he's come back from the dead and he doesn't care about anything else apart from the Night King. So that would make sense. I would like that. Their conversation though, them kind of bonding and her being like, you're really good at ruling, you know. Like, she's right, he does seem like he's really charismatic, and like he's the kind of ruler that they would respect in the north, because he's just this like expert swordsman, and he was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and he's just basically got this amazing pedigree. And Ned Stark's son, well, so they think, as well. Handsome, brilliant soldier, super honourable, good bloodline, perfect figurehead. Needs some help from his counsellors, from his advisors, totally. Kit has said in an interview, Sansa has knowledge that he doesn't have, and he'll listen to her more this season, so fingers crossed that conversation is going to lead somewhere. Jon is right, like the Southern Army has never invaded the North, right? Because you've got Moat Cailin and you've got the Neck, and like it's just impossible for a Southern Army to ever be able to get past that, and you know, hugely stretched supply lines and all that crap as well. But Sansa doesn't know. Maybe like, she said that because she just doesn't know the military. So she did say like, you're the military man, but I know Cersei. She will kill whoever crosses her. She's right, and I don't think they would have said that if that wasn't going to come up. And really comparing Sansa to Cersei, he said, you sound like you admire her. She said, I learned a great deal from her, and she really did. She was a bit of like a mentor in a kind of horrible way. It doesn't mean she wants to be like her. Although I think that the things that maybe she learned from her are like going to ridiculous lengths to protect your family and knowing who to trust and who not to trust. I don't know. Anyway, Cersei and Jaime, speaking of Lannisters. Cersei's being really delusional about her power, isn't she? And I like that Jaime says, like, you're the queen of 3 kingdoms, if that. I don't think you really realise what's going on here. And I kind of feel sorry for Cersei, because like in the books, you sort of get a better idea of like her internal monologue. Like, you don't, her craving power it's not really said so much. It's kind of obvious, but it's not spoken about so much in the show. But her craving power in the books is something she talks about a lot, and she's just bitter about the fact that she was born as a woman, especially because she's got this perfect mirror image of herself, like Jaime, who just, what did she say, like, he got given a sword and I got sold off to someone. That's not fair, and it makes sense as to why she's so obsessed, and she thought she'd be able to rule through Joffrey, and Joffrey turned out to be a psycho. Then she thought she could rule through Tommen, and then Marjorie came along and she got very bitter about that. Now she's got the chance to rule. She's really lost her shit because all her children had died. It's all she's got left. And it makes me feel really sorry for her. I do think actually, like when Jaime says like, we never talked about Tommen, it is really heartbreaking because I think it shows there is still some humanity there. Like her voice breaks a little bit. It's too painful. She's lost every single one of her children, and she lost her mother and she lost her father, and Jaime's all she's got left. And I think she's just trying to shut out the pain because it's too much losing that many people, especially your children. That was really sad. I really enjoyed Cersei's chapters in the books, and I really enjoy her as a villain. Like, she's super unhinged, and she's not anywhere near as smart as you think she is. She's really interesting. And Lena Headey is amazing. She's an incredible actress. Her and Sophie Turner are on the same level, I think, because there's so much that they don't say, but you can see it. They've got this, like, 2 layers. They've got their face, their expressionless face, and then somehow with the tiniest movements or whatever, they're conveying a whole world of emotion beneath it to us, but not to the person they're talking. I don't know, it's so clever. So good scene, liked it, well done. Euron Greyjoy. Okay, Euron is so terrifying in the books. If anyone's read the sample chapters for the Winds of Winter, there's one called The Forsaken, which is told from the point of view of Aeron Greyjoy, who is one of Theon's uncles, and he's the priest of the drowned god. He's not in the show, but it's told from his point of view. It's one of the best chapters of this whole series that I've read. I'm not saying something because this is my favourite series ever of books, but it's amazing, and it shows how really terrifying Euron is. There's a lot of stuff they haven't mentioned about him on the show so far. The King's Moot last season, don't know what happened there. He's supposed to appear and blow like big war horn. Everyone like turns and looks at him, and then he's like, I'm gonna fucking be the king, and everyone ends up rallying behind him instead of Yara, or Asha in the books, which is what happens in the show, but it's just a much more impressive entrance. I don't know why they didn't do that. And there was like 10 people there. It was supposed to be all of the Iron Islands, and there was like fuck all people there, so I don't know what happened there. Also, Euron has a ship called the Silence, and it's called the Silence because he cut the tongues out of all of his crew members because he just doesn't want to hear them make noise or talk. That's the kind of person we're talking about. Every kind of few seasons we have to have like the token psycho. So we had Joffrey, then he died, then we had Ramsay, then he died, and now we've got Euron. I think he's going to be like the token psycho of seasons 7 and 8. But the difference with Euron is like Joffrey and Ramsay were like just really sadistic megalomaniacs, whereas Euron, he has this like whole magical side to him in the books. Anyway, I don't know what they're going to do with that in the show. He's got a horn called the Dragon Binder, which they haven't mentioned in the show, but that means he can take control of dragons. He's got a suit of Valyrian steel armour, which is worth more than everything in Westeros, and means he's like impervious to all kinds of attack. He's sailed around the world and it's just like got all the coolest stuff, and he's this amazing pirate, and he's a fucking scary man. He's just like, I don't know how he's going to be stoppable at all. So I kind of hope that they take him down that like magical route instead of like just making him Token Psycho 3.0. So he said he was going to get Cersei a gift. I'm guessing that's going to be Tyrion, which is scary because Tyrion... Oh, I don't want to think about that. Yeah, and let's also just gloss over the fact that Euron managed to build 1,000 ships with no trees on the Iron Islands in like a couple of weeks. That's fine. I mean, there's dragons in this world and White Walkers. I'm not gonna nitpick about things like that. It's fine, whatever. My thoughts on this scene are Cersei is totally gonna marry him. She's just haggling because she's not completely stupid. I did love a bit of the banter between Euron and Jaime. I'm not a big Jaime Lannister fan. I know that's heresy because everyone seems to love him even though he pushed Bran Stark out of the window. But fine. Now, the Citadel! Woohoo! Now that montage was great. It's like they've never done anything like that before in Game of Thrones, have they? And it's really like Edgar Wright, you know, who did Spaced, which is one of the best comedy shows ever. And if you haven't seen it, go and rectify that immediately. It's amazing. It was really like that kind of this like montage as it like sped up and just gave the impression of like, I have been doing this all day every day for so long and it's so disgusting. And I was like, welcome to my world, buddy, because I work in healthcare and like literally like other people's bodily fluids is an hourly thing I have to deal with in my job. I really enjoyed Jim Broadbent in that scene. He's amazing, isn't he, as an actor? Just something about like the way he moved and the way he was just so, I just got lost in his performance. You know, sometimes you get those just like, this is so real. I was really impressed by that. I really liked some of the things he said, like we're the world's memory, and everyone at the Citadel doubts everything, it's their job. It really reminded me of something someone said to me once, which is, science is the art of proving yourself wrong. And that's what they do at the Citadel, and that's why they're so important. It's dead good. I really like that. I like getting the insight into the Citadel. We haven't had a lot of that in the show at all. Oh yeah, and the other comment, the wall has stood through it all. The wall's coming down. They wouldn't keep saying it. The wall is coming down. Okay, next scene. Brienne just married Tormund. Oh my god, what an amazing power couple Brienne and Tormund would be. Oh, I would love that. And you're never going to find a better beard. That beard is majestic as fuck. Oh god, Sansa and Littlefinger. I love Sansa suddenly getting really sassy. Oh my god. Oh, I mean, she's my fave. Like, well, the Starks are all my faves. I really struggled to choose a favourite out of the Starks, but the 4 surviving Starks. Jon's a Stark. Fucking fight me. He's a Stark. I don't want to choose a favourite, but like Sansa, I just... and her just delivering these like drop dead sassy lines. Oh my god, be still my heart. Okay, so here's a question. Why does he ask her if she's happy? Why doesn't she just turn around and go, who the fuck is happy? We're in the Middle Ages. This is Westeros. Half my family's dead. 2 of them might be dead, I don't know where they are. And I've got complex post-traumatic stress disorder because I was a hostage for quite a few years to different people. Why are you asking me if I'm happy? How insulting. Like, what a question to ask someone. I mean, oh god, greatest line of all time. No need to seize the last word, Lord Baelish. I assume it was something clever. I'm gonna remember that. And I feel like when Brienne comes over, it's like, he wants something. She's like, I know exactly what he wants. I felt like that was, we could kind of see the cogs turning in her head of like, we need his men. I fucking hate him. How do I get his men without him? So I think maybe this is going to be the start of her ruse. She knows he doesn't love her. I mean, he said he loved her aunt as well, and then she saw him murder her. Like, she knows he doesn't love her. She knows that. But she knows that he needs her for his plan. He's got, like, the Vale, and he's got Harrenhal, hasn't he? But, like, he's playing Monopoly with Westeros, putting hotels in, like, different sort of kingdoms. He's not enough on his own. He doesn't have the right name. He's not from one of the great houses. So she knows he needs her. She knows he doesn't love her. She knows he needs her. So I think that just figuring out how to use that to her advantage, and I think that's going to be Sansa's arc for season 7, like the student outstrips the teacher. I think that's going to be it. Ugh, it's going to be boss. Highest scene. Why was Ed Sheeran getting so much hate for this cameo? Apparently he deleted his Twitter account because people were being horrible. I like the fact that like she asked them what they're doing up there because she knows they're Lannister soldiers and they've come up there to deal with some trouble at the Twins, and she has this look in her eyes of like, shit. Because then they start talking about how much they miss their families and basically how they're just cannon fodder for like the highborns in their war. I think it's quite nice. I think like humanises Lannister soldiers for her. And I did think the scene, it was a bit overly sentimental, wasn't it? And I don't know why the guy from This Is England asked her if she was old enough to drink. It's like, we all drink, I mean, we all ferment our like drinks because we can't drink the water or we'll get cholera. Like, are you new to this country? I had no idea she was going to King's Landing when she said to Jack and Hagar at the end of season 6. Oh, it's one of those lines that makes me cry again. The girl is Arya Stark of Winterfell and I'm going home. I really thought that was what she was going to do. Arya saying she's going to kill the queen. Does this mean she's the Valonqar? Okay, so to the uninitiated, I don't know how many people watching this like have read the books, but in the show they showed a bit of the prophecy that Cersei was given when she was a child, which is that queen you shall be until then comes another younger, more beautiful to take away everything that you love, and you'll have 3 children. Gold will be their crowns and gold their shrouds. A bit they left out of the show, I'm guessing because it was too much of a spoiler, was when your tears have drowned you, the Valonqar will wrap his hands around your pale white neck and squeeze the life from you, something like that. Now Valonqar is High Valyrian for little brother, but Valyrian is a genderless language, so isn't necessarily a boy, but she grew up thinking that was going to be Tyrion, and that's why she hated Tyrion so much, as well as the fact that her mother died giving birth to him. Could be Jaime, because he's younger than her. He came out of the womb after her, even though they're twins. I thought for a while it'd be Jaime, but hands, it says wrap your hands around her neck. I mean, that would be amazing. I would be very happy with that, because she hasn't really done very well with her kill list, because they've all died without her, and she's all like, damn it! I really love the way that Arya can sit in a bunch of Lannister soldiers and she can just say, I'm going to kill the queen. And they all just laugh at her because she's a tiny, little, innocent, cute girl. And they're all like, obviously that's a joke, obviously. She can just outright say that. And they're all just like, huh, good one. That is how we use the patriarchy to our advantage, girls. Take note. The Brotherhood without banners. This is cool. I'm jealous of all the snow. I love snow. Summer's fine, it's fine, but I was jealous looking at all the snow. It was beautiful. I'm sure they probably weren't very comfortable, but it looked lovely. The Hound is hilarious, as ever. Like, what was that thing? Why are you so grouchy? Why are you so grumpy all the time, Clegane? He just says experience. Just like, yeah, that's relatable. I really like when they're talking about death, and he asks why the hell Beric has been brought back 6 times by the Lord of Light. Like, what is special about him? And he was a plot point to introduce the concept of resurrection in order to pave the way for more important characters down the line. You can't say that. You can't say that to Beric. That would be a bit harsh, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm guessing he's going to go beyond what we saw in the trailer, a bunch of people beyond the wall with Jon. I'm guessing Beric and Thoros are going to be there, and I'm guessing the way that he gave the last kiss to Lady Stoneheart in the books and gave up his own life, I'm guessing he's going to do that for Jon, because Jon is obviously very important in winning the War for the Dawn. So that's my prediction. So yeah, so's Beric. You literally exist to give someone magical CPR. Oh, that's another thing about Beric. No one's mentioning that Jon came back from the dead, and it's really bothering me. Everyone's just acting like it was normal, and it's not. It's crazy as fuck. Because there was that scene when he was first reunited with Sansa, and they're like, oh, where will we go? And he says, well, I can't stay here, not after what happened. It's like, don't say it like they just beat you up and took your lunch money. You were murdered. It's such a throwaway comment, and like, no one is talking about the fact that this man has come back from the dead. No one is talking about it. Oh my god, really pisses me off. So I really hope when Beric meets Jon, they can have a big chat about it, and we can learn some more about Jon and how he's different now, and how he's colder, and all he cares about is the Night King and all of that shit. I really hope that that happens. Beric meeting Jon when they go to fight for the War for the Dawn. I think that, like, I'm really looking forward to that conversation. It's got to happen, hasn't it? It's really got to, like, the big discussion about, like, what it's like to have been to the other side and there being nothing, and maybe Jon taking a bit of comfort from a veteran resurrectee to, like, sort of talk him through it. Thoros seeing visions in the fire. Am I on board with this? In the books, Melisandre's only point of view chapter, we're told, like, she's the most talented of her order at reading the visions in the fire, and it's all like really abstract and like symbols that she's got to try and interpret, whereas what the Hound sees is a little bit sort of clear cut. But it's fine, you know, it's not really a criticism. I just really like the puzzles that are posed all the way through the books, like the House of the Undying, Jon's dreams about the crypts of Winterfell, the Forsaken chapter, which you need to read, because there's a lot of that in there, and Melisandre's chapter with all of her visions. I love stuff like that because it's puzzle pieces you can put together. So I guess if it had just been so clear cut, like, oh, there's the wall and there's the dead marching past a mountain, looks like an arrowhead, and there's the sea, and it's just all a bit like, well, I didn't have to work to figure it out. It's Eastwatch. Okay, Sam and Gilly. I kind of hope that Sam tries to get in touch with Jon at the wall, because how could he know that Jon's A, no longer Lord Commander, B, been murdered by his brothers, C, been raised from the dead, and D, is now king in the north. If he knows all that stuff and isn't reacting to it, I'm going to be fucking annoyed. Well, I guess Sam's going to cure Jorah's grayscale, right? Fine. That was easy. Oh, but also, someone said something about dragonglass curing grayscale. And Princess Sheeran is the only one who's ever survived grayscale, and she grew up at Dragonstone. I've just realised that just now. Oh my god. Oh, that makes sense. That's cool. Okay, fine. It's not that simplistic after all, I guess. Okay, now, oh my god! The money shot. Team Daenerys, Team Dany coming to Dragonstone after all of this time. Oh my god, I'm getting all choked up again. I mean, it was so beautifully done. They really, really captured the magnitude of this moment. It was so beautifully handled. Like, I kind of feel like I want to make a video to just gush about the music on this show alone, because it's incredible. Daenerys is my favourite, apart from the Stark theme. I'm biased because they're my babies. But her music is just so epic and beautiful. The fact that there was no talking at all, because, like, what can you say? Nothing you can say is more effective than just those sweeping, beautiful shots of the sea and the dragons flying over the castle, and her, like, walking up the beach and, like, picking up the sand, and this kind of, like, ritualistic, like, God, I haven't been here since I was born. I was literally born and then left. This is, like, huge. And the way she rips down Stannis' banner with contempt in her face, that was cool. All that needed to be said, the only line in that scene was perfect. Shall we begin? Chills, seriously. I kind of like the way that she was walking up the, I think, like, the west side of the table, running her fingers along it. Casterly Rock is in the Westerlands, right? So maybe that was symbolic, or maybe I'm just looking for things. All in all, brilliant scene setting episode. Really set up, like, where all the monarchs are and where they're going from here, and it sets up their relationships with their advisors. Obviously not so much with Dany, but they all fucking worship her, that's fine. Like, we don't need to really, she hasn't got the conflict in the ranks that Jon has and that Cersei has. Really, I can't believe I've now got to wait another fucking week. It really felt like it wasn't long enough. But then, it never is, because it's the fucking most epic show ever, right? Thanks for watching my review, guys. I've got a lot of videos I want to make about character studies, and I want to talk about the dire wolves a bit, because I'm obsessed with wolves. Oh my god, that's a point. Where the hell was Ghost? Come on, seriously. Jesus. I'm not going to say I'm the biggest Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire nerd out there, because I know that's a highly contested title on the internet, but, like, I'm up there, definitely. I've got a whole bunch of videos that I want to make anyway about Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones, and I think every week I'm going to do a review or a reaction video or both. So yeah, please just, like, stay tuned to my channel, subscribe, and, like, leave a comment if you like the video, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. Yay, Game of Thrones is back! Woohoo! See you next week. Mwah!